I'm going to share something today traumatic about burglary, so could be triggering for some. If that's you, please don't watch this video. Thank you. I want to talk about something many of you have been asking about, that challenging transition from working life to retirement, and why so many people feel stuck or afraid to make big changes. Well, when Sarah and I sold everything to travel full time, people kept telling us, "You're so brave." But here's the thing, we never felt brave. We were just following our dream. It was simply like we were stepping through an open door to our new world, where others saw it as us scaling a treacherous cliff. The same action, but completely different perceptions. So what makes some people comfortable with major life transitions while others feel paralysed? I recently had a conversation with a friend that triggered a memory that might explain it. About 20 years ago, Sarah and I experienced something pretty traumatic. Our house was burgled, and not just a simple break-in, a complete violation. They took everything of value, including Sarah's new car. So, you know those hiding spots you have in your car, in your house, that you think no one will ever find something there? They do. And they left the place destroyed. They didn't just come in and take what they wanted and left. No, they took what they wanted, and they took so much more, because it was horrific. In fact, the scene of crime officer that came in, he said looked like they'd been in maybe 3 or 4 times, and he said that this was probably the worst burglary he'd ever seen. It was horrific, and it felt like a hurricane had just swept through our lives, tearing up not just our possessions but our sense of security and the future we'd carefully mapped out for ourselves. It was so devastating that Sarah said, "I'm never sleeping in this house again," and she didn't. Just imagine that for a moment. We went back there with our future all planned, and Sarah never went in that house again. We had our lives perfectly planned, you see. We knew exactly where we were heading. And this event turned everything upside down, totally upside down. I won't deny that this was probably more tough for me as Sarah's partner, because I felt guilt that I hadn't protected her from this. Yeah, it was shit, basically. But let's move on. There's an interesting part here. About a month after it happened, I had this thought. If someone could magically restore everything exactly as it was before, would we even want that? And surprisingly, the answer was no, not really. It was as if the burglar had not just broken our windows, but he had shattered an invisible glass ceiling that was limiting us. We look back at that now, that burglary, as horrible as it became a blessing in disguise. It freed us from the path we were on and opened us up to totally new possibilities. Sometimes life needs to bulldoze what you've built so you can see the horizon that was blocked from view. Our comfortable routine had become, a cage. And the break-in, ironically, broke us out of that. It taught us that material possessions are replaceable. They're more like the packaging that comes with life. They're not life. And life plans aren't set in stone. They can flex as circumstances change. Basically, this experience fundamentally changed our relationship with change itself. It's why years later, selling our house to travel full time, something others saw as crazy, felt almost easy to us. We'd already learned that starting fresh could lead to something better. We'd almost developed immunity to the paralysis of comfort, I guess. I hear from so many viewers about 2 major fears in retirement. That of turning off the stream of income and starting to spend savings. Now, I remember this 4 years ago. I made a video about this about 4 years ago, actually. And yeah, there's no getting around the fact. That's weird. That point where you get your last paycheck from work and you're all on your own. And then it's like, oh, where's the money? Oh, I got to pay myself now. But I've been building all this money up and, I don't want to spend it. It's weird, isn't it? It's weird. It's what it is. But losing your sense of purpose and identity was another, and I've talked about that a lot recently in videos. These fears are like heavy anchors dragging behind boats that could otherwise be set for incredible journeys and destinations. They keep us moored to the familiar shore when the whole ocean awaits us. So I mentioned at the start that I had a conversation with a friend recently, and we spoke about the struggles that they were having and these exact concerns. She and her partner are considering downsizing. She's just retired, but she's feeling anchored to their current location, their physical location in life, and unable, I guess, to imagine a different life. It reminds me of something I once heard about a shark in a big tank. I don't know if you've heard this, that it could roam that tank, and then one day, halfway across the tank, the shark keepers put this pane of glass in, I guess. So they put that in, and the shark was swimming around, and he went to go to that other half of the tank, and he hit his nose against this. Have they got noses? It's not my expertise. Hit his nose against this pane of glass. He thought, "Whoa, that hurts," and he floated around a bit, and then he went again. He did that a few times, and it kind of reprogrammed him. And this story says that he just stayed in his part of the shark tank from there on. And the shark tank owners, don't know this isn't my area of expertise, look it up yourself, I don't know. But they pulled out the glass, separating the other half, and he never went over there again. He stayed in his own part of the shark tank. Not sure of the veracity of that story. Do, by all means, check it for yourself. If it's not true, sounds good, doesn't it? But on the back of that, here's what I suggested to my friend. And what I suggest to anyone feeling stuck about their retirement transition. And that is travel. Travel is like pressing the reset button of your perceptions. It forces you to see the world and yourself with fresh eyes, I guess. I don't necessarily mean sell everything like we did. Just plan a significant trip, maybe 6 months. Though even a few weeks can work. The key is to remove yourself completely from your familiar environment. Step outside of the fishbowl and realise there's an ocean. Don't be like that shark in his little fishbowl. Create mental space to envisage a totally different set of possibilities. You'll find that experiencing these different things firsthand can be exhilarating, not just scary. Taste new foods and realise that your palate is more adaptable than you thought it was. And when in the new place, see how others live. Your perspective, I find, shifts. Solutions and desires that weren't visible before suddenly become totally clear. It's like cleaning a window that you didn't even realise was dirty in the first place. Suddenly, everything is brighter and more vivid. When Sarah and I prepared for our transition, we took specific steps. First, we spent months carefully analysing our finances forensically with a tooth comb. We wanted to make sure that what we want to do could sustain our desired lifestyle. We felt like architects, I guess, carefully drawing blueprints before breaking ground on our new life. We also felt like we had this shared project that no one else knew about. Very covert. But the more powerful step was psychological. We dedicated time, often Friday nights for us, to vividly imagine our future life, how it would feel, what we'd experience, the freedom we'd enjoy. We were planting seeds in our minds that would eventually grow into reality. Eventually, that vision became more compelling than our comfortable present. The leap no longer seemed so great because we'd already been living that future mentality. We'd been building a bridge between our current life and our future selves, plank by plank, until crossing over felt natural and obvious. Those disruptive, sometimes painful turning points in life, like our burglary, can become the very experiences that free us to embrace life later on. Like vaccinations against fear, it's a small dose of upheaval that builds immunity to the paralysis of comfort. If you haven't had such an experience, and that's a good thing, I hope you haven't, maybe think about this. If you had friends that have died suddenly, and when that happens, it makes you question what life's all about. There are tons of stories of people changing their lives when something like that happens, or when they get, a terrifying cancer diagnosis. So creating intentional distance through travel can provide a similar perspective. It's like stepping outside of the maze, or out of the matrix for any of our sci-fi fans out there. Suddenly you can see the pattern from above and find that path forward for yourself. Remember, retirement isn't just what about you're leaving behind. It's about what you're moving towards. And when you have a vision of the future and it becomes vivid enough, taking the leap becomes not an act of bravery, no, but simply following your dream. You're not jumping off a cliff. You're not brave. You're stepping onto the bridge that you've already built in your mind. I'd love to hear stories of your turning points, or how travel has changed your perspective. Share that in the comments below. It takes a lot for us to take action, and in this video here, Sarah and I talk about two of the biggest mistakes we made leading to our retirement, but also something that we did right. Something that you can earn from literally thousands of pounds or dollars every year. It's like finding money you didn't know you had hidden in the lining of your coat. Go there now, and Sarah and me will see you there. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time.